Good evening, everyone. I just want to do a timely Facebook Live on sleep. Sleep is so awesome, and I had this like itch in like 2013. I'm actually gonna stand. I had this itch in 2013 when I first started going to college. I was like, man, like we sleep for so much of the time. We should probably know a little bit about how it works. And so that's, I'd say, like one of my first modern ventures into. I'm getting my phone ready here. Into someone just texted me. Let's see. And that was my first like modern foray into health. And my RA told me about this way you could like time your sleep cycles or something. And like I was like a college student at the time, so I was like, oh well, like if I could sleep less or sleep more, like that'd be really awesome. And so so here's a lot of what I've learned. I'm going to talk about some other stuff, but the first thing I want to talk about is this awesome app called Sleepy Time. So Sleepy Time app, I have used this pretty much every day since 2013. It is a very effective little tool. And you can also use this on the website at sleepyti.me, and it's a really dumb URL, sleepyti.me. You can also go there. And so what this does is, let me grab a sticky note here, is it's what I call a dumb calculator, okay? So a smart calculator would take some kind of input and then tell you some kind of time. So for example, when I usually talk about this, people are like, oh, is that the thing you set on your bed and then it knows when you're rolling over and then it'll wake you up at the time? And I don't like those. Because number one, you have to have your phone on your bed and I don't want to light on fire while I'm sleeping. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, I got a little gaming headset on, some blue blockers. So this is just a dumb calculator. You put in the times and then it spits you out other times. It doesn't do anything with your heart rate or, you know, this or that or vibration. Okay, so imagine this is most awake up here and this is most asleep. Okay, so on average, people take 15 minutes to fall asleep. So we're gonna draw a little line like this. Okay. We're gonna draw a little line. So this is the point where you start going to sleep, and this is where you are getting kind of into light sleep. And so your sleep cycles, on average, go in 90-minute cycles. Okay, 3, 4. Okay, I'm gonna write 1.5 below each of these real quick. I want to stress you guys, this is something you can do tonight. Like you can literally, like you're on your phone probably, but if you're on desktop, you can just grab your phone and type in Sleepy Time on Android or Apple and get this app. Or you can just calculate it from the link. So this is what your sleep cycles look like. You start most awake, going to sleep 15 minutes, and then you go in these 90-minute cycles. Okay, so what does this add to? Okay, it's 15 minutes plus 1.5 plus 1.5 plus 1.5 plus 1.5. So this is 3 and 3. Sorry, you need one more cycle on there. So 3 hours plus 3 hours plus 1.5 is 7.5 hours plus 15 minutes. Okay, so from everything I've seen, people go, oh, 8 hours isn't the right amount. You should sleep like 6.5 or something, or like some other weird time. The reason people say 8 hours is because 8 hours is just a very short way to say it. If I say 7 hours and 46 minutes, 7 hours and 40, it's like 10 syllables, right? But if I just say 8 hours, close enough. People might wake up a little earlier. People might wake up a little bit later. Cool. What this exactly totals to is 7 hours and 46 minutes. So this dumb calculator, this app you can get on your phone, okay, I'm going to pull it up. It looks like this. I have a light. So it looks like this, and then you just press this button before you go to sleep, and you see it spits out all the time. So if I was to go to bed right now and I wanted 8 hours of sleep, it's 8:36 p.m. where I am. So I could wake up at 4:20 a.m. And there's these little, let me adjust the focus here. And you can see that this says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and what that number shows is the number of sleep cycles you're getting. Okay, so back to this. So if you've ever had one of those days where you might stay up a little bit later, oh, you got to get up at 5:30, or you're in a different time zone, or this or that. okay, and you wake up and you drink coffee and you take a cold shower, you take a hot shower, you go for a run, you lift weight, and you can't wake up, it's because you just woke up in the middle of one of these sleep cycles. So, right, let me try. We'll draw it with a dashed line and a skull and crossbones. Drawing. So you woke up probably in the middle of one of these sleep cycles, okay? So 15 minutes to fall asleep, 90-minute cycles, or 1.5 hours. 5 cycles plus 15 minutes is 7 hours, 46 minutes, or basically 8 hours. And 4 cycles is 6.5 hours. So whenever somebody is asking me about like sleep hacking or something like that, like you can get really crazy with it. But the thing is that majority of people are under a significant amount of stress and their recovery already isn't optimized. So if you're going to do less sleep, you can shoot for 6.5 hours, but I wouldn't try to do any less than that. And I would only really recommend 6.5 if you can really fill your day properly with that time. Because there's this kind of paradigm of if you push yourself really hard, like say you were going to use cerebral electrical stimulation, okay, that's one of the things you can biohack with to get better sleep. I've not had the chance to play with it yet, but one day I will because I'm curious. And so you attach these little electrodes to your head and they can change the brainwave states. If you were to do that, there's a great Bulletproof podcast episode that explains how this motorcycle rider uses it so that he can make faster decisions on the track. And he says that if you do that, if you use that technology to get that benefit to be able to make faster decisions on the track, you also have to spend an equivalent amount of time resting. So it's like, oh, I went really hard for 2 hours on the track. Okay, well now you got to spend 2 more hours sleeping to recover from overclocking your brain for a little bit. So if you want to sleep less, do 6.5 hours, and I wouldn't really recommend it unless you're in a good, healthy state, which I can help assess. That'd be things like cortisol rhythm, and also DMLO, delayed melatonin, dim light melatonin onset, which is how your body responds in dim light. Is your melatonin production up as you were going to bed? I can check those kinds of things out. But really what it comes down to, we can investigate those kinds of issues, but it always comes down to the lifestyle stuff, right? Like when you get up, what's the first thing you're doing, and what are the things you're doing before you go to bed? If you're staring at your phone, before you go to bed, and you're going to bed at some funky time, and you're waking up at some funky time, then your circadian rhythm is going to be off. So if you want to get your circadian rhythm back on track, just the number one thing, if you do nothing else, if you do nothing else to get circadian rhythm back on track, get morning sun. So how do I get morning sun? Well, I get up at sunrise, and that for me right now where I live is 7 a.m. or around there. And so I found that if I went to bed earlier and I did the 6.5 hours of sleep, it would just be weird if I got up before sunrise, because I'd just twiddle my thumbs. I'm like, what do I do? Like meditate, or like no one's up. Like it's not even light out. Like I don't feel like I can really wake up. So that's just some of my experience having studied about sleep for a really, really long time. So get the Sleepy Time app. It spits out the times. I'll show you guys again real quick. So get the app. It's called Sleepy Time. And then you press this button before you go to sleep, and that'll tell you the times that you can wake up. 5 cycles is 8 hours of sleep. 4 cycles is 6.5 hours of sleep. I use that pretty much every night. And after you kind of regularize your bedtimes, like 11 and 7, then you don't have to press the button. So let's talk about tweaking with this a little bit, because what I found is that you can offset the time by 20 minutes. Okay. You can offset the time by 20 minutes. So what does that mean for this graph? Let me get a little marker out here. Sure, pink highlighter. So it means that if this is your sleep cycle right here, and say this is, say your normal time is 11 right here, Okay, what you could do is you could choose, there's two other times you could choose around that. You could choose 10:40 if you need to get up a little earlier, and you could also choose 11:20 as your different bedtimes. And what would that mean at the end here? At the end, that would equate to, so if 11 is 8 hours of sleep, and that's 7, 10:40 would get you up at 6:40, and 11:20 would get you up at 7:20. So this is time, and then the kind of trajectory to each time. So if you need to get up a little bit earlier, you can do that, and if you need to get up a little bit later, you can also do that. But you see, we haven't even actually done the offset by 20 minutes yet. Or sorry. Yeah, so that, I mean, you can fudge the start times. You can fudge either the start or the end time within 20 minutes. So sorry, let me get a new index card and write this out. So if you went to bed at 11, your options would be 7, 7:20, or 6:40. Sorry, like this. So if you go to bed at 11, your options are 11, 7, 7:20, which is 20 minutes later, or 6:40. Or you can do it the other way around, where you could say your bedtime is, you could go to bed 20 minutes earlier or 20 minutes later. But if you start to fudge it more than that, that's when you start to get that I can't wake up kind of feeling. So let's talk about some other stuff that can just help you get to sleep. Number one is essential oils. I use essential oils like almost every night. Very relaxing. Some good choices for that are lavender is really great. Also, Roman chamomile is really great. Valerian is really great. Helichrysum is really great. Cool fact about helichrysum is it actually helps your liver detox, so you can actually put it, sorry, my standing desk is here. You can put it right under your, this camera can't see. You can put it, so like here's my ribs, okay? Your liver is right in here. And so what I do is I'll take the little container, it's about this big, and I'll drop it right here. I'll just do one drop, and then I'll rub it on my arms. So the most effective spot to put essential oils is actually on your feet. There's some really cool special points there for absorption. But I prefer more kind of aromatic use of oils. So I'll do a couple drops on my wrist here, then I'll rub my arms together, and then I'll rub them down my chest, kind of like right here. And then sometimes I'll just put just a little under my nose to enhance that aromatic effect. So once again, lavender, Roman chamomile, valerian, helichrysum. You could use a number of other ones. The cautionary note about lavender is that it has found to be estrogenic. So if I do use it, I don't use it all the time. I generally stick to valerian or Roman chamomile. Yeah, and then some other stuff that I do every night regarding sleep. As you can see, I'm wearing my blue blockers here. I have a little light on so you guys can see my face better, but ideally that would be off. But you want to get the lights dim around your house. And so for me, I'll show you what that looks like real quick. That's dim lighting before I go to bed. And then I've got another light. I'll keep that one on. I've got a salt lamp in my bedroom. And then I also have, instead of the full overhead lights in my bathroom, I have, I finally got a little switch light, which is awesome. I prefer that to the automatic ones. But the kind of lighting, the kind of light bulbs you choose also matter a lot, because there's kind of this whole spectrum of light, okay? And so this is, let me pull up a picture real quick. I think this will really clarify things for you guys. I think it's in my favorites, so it won't take me long to find. It is not, but I know where it is. Searching. So basically, different light bulbs put out like a different spectrum of light, and both your eyes and your skin respond to different types of light. So, come on, where is this? Buried in slides somewhere. Really cool infographic. Okay, once you see it. Okay, so sun versus light bulbs. So let's take a look at this and then talk about the implications. Okay, so sunlight is this one, which you can see it's called full spectrum. And then you can see an incandescent bulb has low blue light, and a lot of light is put out as red and also as heat. And so then you can see fluorescent light puts out these very unnatural spikes of green and red. Like, compare that to sunlight. Like, what's that going to do to your biology? What is your skin going to think is going on? This is halogen, which you can see is low blue light, but it's very high green light. Cool white LED, you can see it has this spike of blue, which actually is higher than the spike of blue in sunlight. And so that doesn't really exist in nature. And when your body sees that, it can actually cause basically like a stress response. So the kind of lights you choose matters. Stick to halogen and incandescent. Don't stress too much about it. It's more important that you get the light dim before you go to bed. And the last little thing I want to recommend to you guys is when you go to sleep, lower the temperature, or at least experiment with the temperature. The ideal temperatures to sleep at are between 65 degrees and 70 degrees. Some people like it warmer. I found for myself, when I go down to 65, I sleep really well, but it's uncomfortable for me to get up in the morning. I'm kind of like, I'd rather just stay in bed and hug my blanket because it's just uncomfortable. So I go to 68, 67, and this will also vary with the seasons. You know, it's like humans aren't made to live in this robot environment with, you know, just artificial light and stuff like that. So, quick little recap. Get the Sleepy Time app that's on your phone and on Android and iOS, or at the link I put in the comments, kind of in the beginning. sleepyti.me is the URL for that. And then press the button, and it'll spit out your ideal sleeping times. If you need to work on setting your circadian rhythm up again, get up at sunrise and go get some morning sun. Go for a little walk. It's awesome. Maybe jog, do a tiny like 2 or 3 minute jog, or do some exercise. You can also use essential oils to help you get to sleep. Those are lavender. Lavender, Roman chamomile. I was thinking rosemary. Lavender, Roman chamomile, valerian, helichrysum are some of my favorites. Lower the temperature and lower the light, and that'll help you get to sleep a little better. It is the evening. It's 9 p.m., so you have probably an hour or 2 or 3 if you're going to bed at midnight before you go to bed. So you can download this stuff. You can try it out. You can lower the temperature. You got time to apply all of it. So I will see you guys in the next one, and I hope that helps. Let me know if it does.